Welcome in to Discover Crypto once again, a news-filled fun Friday here. I'm going to down some Tylenol because I'm already retarded for being in crypto. Let's get after it. It's just one of those days, right? It's just one of those days. The news keeps flowing like wine, folks. We are waiting for the orange one himself to take the stage. White House Twitter account's going to be posting this live. We got a live view of the stage here and a lot of phone calls being made, a couple suits hanging around looking for that great upside. And you know what? I think Trump meant it. Last night, he gave us a warning this is coming. He gave us a warning this is coming. Are we tired of winning, chat? Let me know.
You're going to be so tired of winning. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to get tired of winning.
He wasn't lying. He was not lying at all. Feeling the winning fatigue myself here. Now, last night, talking about how great the economy was, I just, this really struck me. This is the outlook for adult milestones of how many 30-year-olds live on their own, hitting lows, have ever been married, hitting lows, living with a child, hitting lows, and owning a home, hitting lows. But somehow the market is moving, just incredibly, according to the White House and sources connected to it. Let's reload Bitcoin's price. Make sure we got the live price action as the orange one gets ready to take the stage. Once again, this morning has been absolute chaos. Up by 2%, down by 2%, up by another 2%, and now back to equilibrium here. Trying to fight for its life. Bitcoin is indeed trying to fight for its life. Go back and check on the stage here. He loves to be fashionably late. So maybe I'll just take this and I'll put it to my other screen so I can keep an eye on it in the background. Woo! Trump pooping his pants right now. Maybe tomorrow. Are we going to the moon? Ain't gonna be no moon now. You know what? The moon never existed. No, I'm just kidding. I think that this is a time frame where I have to take a deep breath, right? You have alien disclosures being talked about. You have the big thing with Iran being talked about. You have a lot of stuff going on right now that is playing to the markets. But the big news of the day is the Supreme Court going against Trump in these tariffs, right? Reversing the acknowledgement. Trump came out right after the acknowledgement that the Supreme Court is dissenting against his tariff decision. I have a plan. Goldman Sachs also believes that the Supreme Court ruling won't end the tariffs and expects the Trump administration to use alternative legal frameworks to get around this, right? So there is a little bit of jockeying back and forth between the Supreme Court, the Trump administration, and the legal capability of Trump to implement these tariffs. Now, for everyone that hasn't caught up on the massive amount of news going on right now, first of all, I'm here to inform you, right? And second of all, I'm here to party. Okay. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States officially ruled that Trump's tariffs are illegal in a 6-3 ruling. The U.S. now faces $150 billion in potential tariff refunds, though the tariff refunds from a logical standpoint are unlikely. I would say that they are unlikely to refund all the money that these countries have been paying the United States in response to the tariffs being implemented. Howard Lutnick was talking about this, and I think this is actually worth listening to. Let's listen to this. Howard Lutnick came out talking about this potential contingency plans expanded to use Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, which allows tariffs on national security grounds, and has already been used to target steel, aluminum, autos, and copper and lumber. So let's have a quick listen to what Lutnick was hinting at here as we're waiting for the orange one to take the stage.
Was at the Supreme Court to watch the discussion today and joins us now. Sir, good to have you back on. What did you see today? What do you think? How do you think they're leaning?
Well, I think they're leaning toward the president. So what happened is General Sauer,
we have determined that was a lie. 6-3 ruling.
Our Solicitor General was out first, and the justices were tough. Let's say they were asking them tough questions. But when the other side got up, wow, it was very, very strong. And so I left very upbeat and very positive. And I think these justices are going to come down in favor of the president's powers because he's stopping the emergency of what's happened to trade against the United States of America. Everybody knows it. And some of those discussions were really, really interesting. And that's why it's fun to be on the show to sort of talk about exactly what some of these justices said.
You know, there was so much doom and gloom when you went down the tariff road. Everybody said this was going to be just so damning for the economy. The Atlanta Fed, and I think we have a graphic to show here, is indicating they think third quarter GDP is going to be at around 4%. That's a big number. That's a very healthy, robust number for the economy.
Wait a minute. Q4 GDP going to be around 4%. We actually have that information. It came out earlier this morning. This is such upside down land. Everything is just so upside down. Let's pull up the actual GDP numbers here. So instead of that wonderful outlook, US Q4 2025 GDP growth slowed to 1.4%, well below the expectations of 3%. So there's a lot that was incorrect about this. I wonder, and let me know what you guys think is going to happen next in the chat, but I wonder what Trump's plan B actually is. Is it kinetic warfare with Iran? Is it releasing alien files to get everyone distracted while they do something more sinister or crazy in the background? Yeah, it's usual move to wait for the stock market to close and then make the move. I was expecting that. Wall Street is not closed right now. So it's actually, let's go look at S&P 500 before we get into this speech. Oh, Lord, this is such a crazy day. SPX, S&P 500. Let's go. Let's go. Refresh. For some reason, I got to refresh all the time. SPX on TradingView, if anyone wants to keep an eye on this. S&P 500, bellwether of Wall Street. Now, as things sit right now, it's been definitely a volatile day. It's definitely been a volatile day on the S&P 500. So down and up about 2% as well. Just about as volatile as Bitcoin, actually. So Wall Street is extremely uncertain with all of the back and forth today. Oh, man, it has been choppy. Something that's worrying me about the S&P 500 is the larger view of this, where you had wicks to the upside that were gobbled up and kind of beat down. You know, this is kind of looking at least a slight rollover. Maybe it goes down to 6,600 and we don't get that full flush out. A mark that I have for the S&P 500 is a washout of about 16%. And this is where a lot of my stocks, hammering into stocks will be initiated at. I am getting access to stocks as things go along anyways, but you know, watching out for just a 15, maybe 20% refresh on the S&P 500, I don't think is too unreasonable to do. So I am playing the cautiously optimistic card in this market environment. So I know that things feel like they're super heavy, but they also feel very similar to the flu season washout, where a lot of people told me to run away and run for the hills. We have all the reasons why to live in fear right now, and I just refuse to do so. Iranian parliament MPs burn American flag while chanting death to America. This was very recent. Seems that there's a conflict brewing there, and the odds of the U.S. confirming aliens exist before 2027 surged to 22% on Polymarket. Might be an interesting bet to take. This might be an interesting bet to take for me, myself. And also, billionaire Democrat donor Steven Spielberg fled from Canada, or I missed it. It feels the same. California, to escape the proposed wealth tax. There's also many angry New Yorkers right now that are dissenting against Mamdani's move to, instead of taxing the rich, tax the property owners. You get what you vote for. And I got what I voted for with Trump. Right? He may be an asshole, but he's my asshole, right? So I will say that. Yeah, I tried. I just call it like I see it. Iculasup. Good to see you. I don't think I've ever seen your name around here. Welcome to the show. And I am earnestly curious. Like, we have still the view of Trump on the stage here. He's not taking the stage yet. So I kind of want to get a litmus test from the chat. Are you waiting for new lows? Are you actively buying in this current range? Like, what is your game plan? Are you moving into dollars to protect yourself and wait for the big flush out to come? I want to know what you guys are doing right now in the chat. Times are very, very uncertain, and it's always interesting to get a test from the chat on if you're actively involved with the market, waiting for new lows. So let me know on that. Waiting for new lows, expecting a pump. Let's see here. How I'm approaching stocks, I'm not interested in selling any of the robotics, AI, nuclear power, rare earth, mineral stocks. No, I'm not interested in doing that for my own portfolio. But the marks that I have on the S&P 500 that I was showing you earlier are essentially where I get more aggressive in buying those particular stocks. I have quite a few that I've been mapping out and looking for a nice little washout support levels, and then pad out the pockets here. Actively, though, I do feel that Bitcoin is front running the S&P 500. In my heart of hearts, I feel like Bitcoin is front running the S&P 500 with this washout. It's been a long-standing theory of mine that we had an 80 some odd percent dip from the bull market of 2017 down to the lows here, about 85% there, and then it was diminished. We had a 75% dip in the 2021 bear market beginning in 22. I have always felt since ETFs got approved and a vast majority of this volume created once the ETFs were created right there, I was feeling like a 50% drawdown feels reasonable in this current bull market. And I said this before we hit our all-time high of 126. So don't come at me with that. We have dipped to the low of about 51, 52%. So I am actively buying Bitcoin in this range, actively trading and actively buying Bitcoin in this range, right? Terrence being blocked. Man, Terrence got blocked. Jesus, that sounds terrible. Oh, Terrence. Oh, man. We're waiting on the briefing to proceed here. Let's actually check the stage real quick. We'll go back over to there we go. We got the White House with the "we will begin shortly. We will begin." So White House is getting up ready. Hopefully they have good sound systems coming online for us so we can get the good sound. I'll be going live with the price overlap of the S&P 500 and Bitcoin as we watch this. So that's kind of my game plan for that. Now, I want to go back to a few things that I meant to touch on. I want to go back to a few things that I want to touch on because there's a lot of news going on. There's a lot of chaos going on. And it does appear from hardware perspective of the U.S. military that there is going to be something happening. To what degree or how bad, that can be discussed till the cows come home, but something big is happening in the Middle East with the United States military right now. So take it as you may, either you batten down the hatches or you lean into the danger. And what I'm doing, it's not my job to tell people what to do, but there are very large military buildups going on in the Middle East right now. One of the largest buildups since 2003 in the Iraq invasion, right? And beyond all of these fighter jets and all of these things, the E3 air command control centers that are in the airspace right now tell me that this is not some short-lived, in and out type movement, right? It seems a little bit bigger than the Venezuela move. But notable, and I will want to highlight this. When we kidnapped Maduro, US that is, we actually pumped on Bitcoin. So this gave me a little bit of an escape rally on some of my altcoins. I don't feel like selling Bitcoin and trying to play hot potato on Bitcoin. But it did give me a nice little escape pump. And then we decided to roll all the way down by about 30% from those local highs. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is a bear market. Fine. So I got out of the way of the pullback and now I'm just using new tether to buy Bitcoin. There are a couple altcoins that are giving me a little bit of FOMO right now that I've been very pointedly calling out and have been performing very well today. And one of those is worth looking at as we get prepared for this. So Hyperliquid, we are stuck in a range, and you're seeing selling pressure around the $32 to $35 mark on Hyperliquid for sure. But I see a lot of strength at the $20 mark, and this is a decentralized exchange with an insane amount of revenue. It's moving counter to the rest of the altcoin sector. And now let's see here. I want to go to Morpho because Morpho is one. It's like, baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. All right, let's reload. I'm also recording a song for my album here in the office tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that new band. Get yourself some hobbies. If you don't have hobbies, you get yourself some hobbies. Let's see. All right, Morpho, Dirty Bird you. So what I'm targeting for a pad out moment to the bags is right at about $1.30. I'm trying to get a center point of this W pattern. If Morpho decides to take off right now and just leave the world behind, I would not be surprised. The money flow is looking vicious to the upside on Morpho. Money flow on Morpho is looking vicious. There's a reason why. If you want to find out like analytics on crypto, if you are in crypto, use Dune Analytics is one of the tools that I use. And you go map out Morpho, how many total deposits there have been, $9 billion. Total active loans sitting at $3.3 billion. And general network deposits are very, very strong. So seeing a lot of infrastructural strength on this lending market within crypto, hence why I remain bullish. Now, go back to Trump. See what we got. We're still waiting on him. And smash the share button. Like and share this stream out here. I'm working double time for you guys. Triple time, even, dare I say. So if you can, do me a favor and share out the show. And, maybe we can become friends. Maybe we can become friends in the future. Let's see. Shock warning, please. What is Aaron talking about in the background? I got the team sending messages. I don't know what they're doing. This is the saddest graph of the day, though. This is the saddest graph of the day for me. Family matters. Family matters. Owning a home matters. Having children matters. Getting married. It all matters. And these are all hitting lows. So, we can kind of move counterculture to these things. And, maybe it's not for everyone. I completely understand. But, family expansion matters. Paid subs to Dune worth it. I don't even need the paid sub to get the analytics that I need. Dune is for I use the free one and I get plenty of information and analytics out of it. This meeting that's coming up with the White House is about the tariffs being rescinded, the reversal on the tariffs. Go back to that. So we had a problem very early this morning. God, this is the greatest timeline. There's nothing more important than peace. And Trump just ordered 22 more B-2 bombers. That's fantastic. So we have Trump tariffs being rescinded by the Supreme Court in a 3-6 decision. All right. So Supreme Court did not go the way that Trump wanted it to go. Honestly, Trump was warning about this happening being very, very bad for the markets at large. So we're going to be paying attention, but this is the official announcement. Supreme Court of the United States ruled that Trump's tariffs are illegal in a 6-3 ruling. So just to reiterate that, got to go back to the S&P, see how we're doing in that. Are people getting real skittish? Do we have a chance to buy the blood on Wall Street? That's the question here. Really volatile. Holy cow. Really, really volatile on the S&P 500. I mean, you're pulling back by nearly a full percentage point within the span of, what is this, like 30 or 45 minutes? That is pretty wild to look at. Oh, man. No, I'm a heavy metal singer, and heavy metal is not for everybody. Heavy metal, the type of heavy metal that I sing is not for everybody. You can go find it. 2 Minutes Darker. That's the latest band. The new one is actually formed by the members of Impending Doom, a very well-known Christian heavy metal band. Their home base out of Germany. Shout out. Check out liquidation levels before we get into this. Get into liquidation levels. Oh, God. A lot of longs. 66.8. The degens will not stop. Okay. Very interesting. I wonder what holdings are you talking about? Clarify. Instructions unclear. Great. There is a reason for exchanges to at least scam us to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised if we had an organic move to the downside, but everything feels like upside down world, and we pumped this morning when the news actually officially broke. Crypto is able to move much quicker than Wall Street as well in terms of price action. So not sure if this whole unwinding is going to cascade us to the downside. I really actually don't feel that way. I said we were going to pump yesterday when we were or this morning rather, when we heard all the information. We were sitting here at like 66.8. Pumped slightly, nothing amazing though. Nothing amazing. Let's see here. American hissing in your own face and telling you it's raining. Ooh, that sounds. I wonder, Matt, where are you from? Where is everyone watching this show from? What country are you in? Are you in Iran? Let me know down in the chat where you're watching this show from right now. I'm curious. Sell opera. Oh my God. Sweden. Okay. All right. Brazil. Thailand. We got international viewers. New York City. ICUP, that Mandami movement is pretty wild. Belgium, London, God bless. It's aluminum, not aluminium. Let's see here. Locked in the basement. That's nice. London, again, aluminium, wrong. Belgium, Dearborn, Michigan. Shout out to the fraud. Shout out to the fraud. Hungary, Bikini Bottom is the best place. Switzerland, India. Lots of international viewers. It's interesting to see. Okay. The world's eyes are on Trump. Germany. You might know about impending doom. Let's see here. Hey, thanks for joining as a member as well. Appreciate you, Stacks. Appreciate you. Area 51 about it. We all feel like aliens, right? We all feel like aliens. You know, this is something interesting. The Q4 GDP being well below expectations. That is something to pay attention to on what monetary levers the Federal Reserve may pull and inject into the banking infrastructure on top of what they're already doing. Oh my God, Miami. What's up, D Sneaker Tech? Miami's a pretty cool spot. You think so? Maybe I've been watching so much Trump. I'm actually getting pretty good. Maybe the best. Check out the night chart. All right, fine. I liked the night chart yesterday. I've been liking this midnight chart for a while, actually. Let's. I got to refresh again. Night. USDT. I think more people are going to find privacy tokens interesting. As the AI super state, the police state of Palantir is rolled out and aggregates all of our data, I think more and more people are going to choose privacy. I am a human maximalist. And it is a fundamental right to have privacy. I think more and more people are going to take advantage of that. Interesting chart. It's at 6 cents right now. You know, where I liked it, the 4.5, for new entries. We could keep writhing around in the altcoin sector for sure. That'd be kind of my preference, is keeping prices low, giving the opportunities to YOLO in. Argentina, I'm learning English with this channel. I understand that half of what you're saying. Shout out FZ9666. All right. Argentinian, those pesos, 100 pesos. I'm a peso millionaire. Shout out new member Nick Dunn as well. Looking at Zcash. Okay. Reasonable. I really feel like the privacy sector's got some juice behind it. Pun intended. Right. Pun intended. Still holding the pirate chain. Oh man, I wish we had an Arms of an Angel song that I could play for the Pulse chain holders. That thing is cooked. Another project that died recently is OP. OP was left behind by Coinbase and the Base ecosystem. Vast majority of the fees collected were from Coinbase. They gave the bad news while it was already pulled over, while it was already down hard. That is rough. Is TJ in here? Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. TJ's in here. Under his alt account, too, man. Say a prayer for me, folks. Now, OP is looking dead. OP is looking dead. Let's see here. Yeah, this is not looking good. This is looking unwell. Yeah, this is not great. I'm not touching this. If you're seeing a chart that's below release points, there's, just be careful. Like, I'm not touching these with a 10-foot pole. Someone convinced you and I can't unconvince you. Just for the love of God, please be careful. All right, we're waiting for Trump. Let's see here. Waiting for the live stream. Oh, yeah, let's check the stage. See if anyone's... Oh, we're getting ready. No, this is the Board of Peace. Oh, they undid it. Guess we got to go to the Wall Street one, or the White House one. Waiting on the Trump orange one to come out. Maybe they'll cancel this. What if someone crashed out and they canceled it? That would be exciting. You want your kidney back? There are no refunds on kidneys. Okay, you do not get kidney refunds. Can't go back in. Jesus, be reasonable. Be reasonable. All right. Yeah, here we got the stage view. Some dude saying the peace symbol. What a twit. What a twit. What you think he's gonna say? I mean, there's probably some sort of emergency order that he can institute for national security purposes on tariffs. And he will find bipartisan support if he blames China. He will find bipartisan support in that. He's going to crash out, and that's what I'm here for. Dump or dump. Salapra, I say pump on the news. I say we pump stupidly. This is upside down world. This is idiocracy. You know? I don't think so, Ma. I don't think there's recovery from there. I mean, you could find like short-term short squeezes and stuff, sure. The use case of layer 2s is dying very quickly. Let's see. If you're in altcoins, you need to follow every show we do because things move super quick in altcoins. All right, it's always the worst when someone like doesn't watch our show for like a month. They come back and they're like, "What happened?" It's like, you know, if you want to just, all right, let me rephrase this. If I want to set it and forget it in crypto, it's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. If I want to set it and forget it in crypto and not be consumed by following everything that's going on, it's Bitcoin. If you are enthused, if you have seen 3Xs in a month, if you've seen 100X before, you're like me and you follow this stuff very, very closely because there's a lot of money to be made. You just have to time out the markets correctly. That is easier said than done, but I'll tell you what, I have a proven track record, and it's as simple as this. Every single time I look to go buy a new car, truck, whatever it is, the market dumps right afterwards. So I'm going to explain this for the new viewers. And I didn't do it in a full fashion. Every single time I look for a car, here, I'm just going to circle it here. Sequoia, boom. Okay. Was this Honda Pilot, March 24. Minivan, Toyota Sienna. Okay. This is October, November 21. Every single time I have a mind's eye to go get a truck or a car, we go to hell in a handbasket. So, you know, just keep that in mind as we move through this. If you see what crypto can actually do, and you do buy the lows and sell the highs, I am addicted to crypto because I love trading it. I love actively trading. And you know what? If the Federal Reserve can print as much money as they want, why shouldn't I be? Why shouldn't I be able to? Win Lambo. I got a Sequoia. I don't have any interest in a Lamborghini. Maybe other people do, and I can understand why. They're fast. They look really cool. Lamborghinis look very, very cool. For sure. No, I'm not looking for a new car. I just bought one. It's the TRD too. I found a TRD for sale. That's the V8. A V8 TRD turd Sequoia is not easy to find. Especially under 100. Especially under 100. Oh man. Oh yeah, and let me ask you this. Do you guys think that we'd pump or dump on this news? Nice profile picture, by the way, Cryptomus. Pump or dump? Pump or dump? Bags are full. Now, if Elon would just take it to the moon, is that Kevin O'Hare? Is that Giga Chad guy in your portfolio? Shout out to that guy. Shout out to that guy. Let's see if the liquidation level's still sitting here. Pump, dump. Yeah, a lot of people pumping. All right, 3 out of 4, 5 out of 4 out of 5. Being pump, dump. Today's Liberation Day. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. You know, we should probably do a poll. Are we pump or dump on Trump crash out? Trump crash out will make the markets, because I feel the crash out's coming. Like, I feel the crash out from Trump is basically coded at this point. Market reaction. Let's put this poll in. Pump or dump for bragging rights, right? You click the vote. If you're right, it's bragging rights because your votes don't matter. The market's going to do what it's going to do anyways. But these are bragging rights you do these things for. Go back to the screen here. We're looking for them. The orange one. Weird stage setup. Definitely a weird stage setup. Waiting on that. 62K, here we come. No tariff, mean no greatest tax return. Dump for sure. Dump comes when Iran is made into glass this weekend. Woo. Yeah, I would say we don't have to. America is probably not going to turn Iran into glass. I do like all it needs to do is hit some of the key infrastructure parts, and there's already a color revolution and fomented by three-letter agencies that will finish the rest of the job. So I do feel that way. I was the first vote. Good for you. I'm like it. And you're tired of winning the money. Printed on longs, low leverage shorts now, high capital. Yeah. We do have a really great trading quant that's I've been using for quite some time. Like literally, we were at like $100,000 Bitcoin, and my heart wanted the price to just go up. And the quant and Crypto Crank and Keanu Matty B, they all tap me on the shoulder and like, no, Drew, just simply right click and invert, and then things become much more clear, right? If you just turn the chart upside down in a bear market, things make a whole hell of a lot more sense. So, in this current environment, now we can call this an inverse head and shoulders, I guess. Measurement. We're just about there. And we hit 59. Like the inverse head and shoulders is basically played out. And actually, the recent cascade to the downside has played out in a very vicious, fast manner. And a lot of what TJ was talking about this morning made a lot of sense where, when you have a movement like this, it's very quick, very violent, and very shocking to the crypto world, kind of like a balloon underwater or a beach ball underwater, where the reversal is very violent, very uppity, and it leaves a lot of people on the sidelines. So let's keep that in mind. Make sure that we're not on mute on this so I can hear the orange one as he comes out. I looked at the injective chart today, and honestly, I look for reasons to FUD bags, and I cannot FUD the injective chart right now. So, Bonil, I don't know if you're looking at the weekly money flow on it, what you're looking at. I looked at the injective chart today, just maybe a half hour ago, and it actually looks pretty dang good. We're hitting all kinds of take profits in the trading group. Geez, Louise, a dot trade on long, a polka dot long out of nowhere, printing on that one, a BMB long, printing on that one, a link long. Holy God, this guy is cleaning house. If you're not in the trading Discord and you want to actively learn how to trade, please do so. Use a 2-bit or a Blowfin user ID. Click the link for Discord in our description and join. You just verify with your ID. It's free to join, and you literally get some days the quant doesn't have the structure, so we don't get the trade calls. But when we do, man, it rains. There's like 7, sometimes 10 trades in a singular day. People still hold on to DOT. You guys are still holding on to DOT? God. Shout out to that. Solana down to $20. I took a bet with a guy when my heart wanted the bull market to continue. I was like, no, we go to new all-time highs on my birthday, May 30th. Now, if I fail, I owe him 1 Solana. But if I won, he would owe me 1 Solana. The trick is that if my thesis is wrong, then Solana is going to be worth like $30 or something like that. But if I was right, then like $200 or $300. So it is what it is. It is a risk worth taking. I've had to short this market for the most part, unfortunately, through this entire move, which is aggravating, but I do like making more Tether to buy cheaper Bitcoin. That does make my heart smile. So let's see here. Do some check-ins. Bam, people are going nuts. Trump's great. No, Trump's terrible. Blah, blah, blah. Let's look at data. Look at where the pain could be. 66.83. Let's see if we get the liquidation washout while Trump is speaking. Let's map this out beforehand. Let's see. And that actually wouldn't be too bearish of a level, because you'd be just continuing a new, like a higher lows type situation in the shorter term on Bitcoin. Short-term washout actually wouldn't scare me too much. Sleepy Joe. When Joe Biden was president, I was always wondering if he was like dead. And I still haven't been disproven that he didn't die, but he was living his best life. He was eating ice cream. He was on Delaware Beach. He didn't give a damn, and that's probably not the best thing for a president. Now with Trump, we get the extreme opposite, where we get press releases and press conferences every day. You know, the market's on edge. Is it the end of the world? Is it not the end of the world? Are aliens real? Every single day. Every single day. So this green line is the liquidation washout that I just located on CoinGlass on the 24-hour time frame. If you missed the member stream, also, I will say that DZ and myself, we do the member stream, and what I just did today on the member stream is map out, I think it's about like 10 really good stocks and industries that I'm looking for washout levels to, and a couple of them are actually at buy points right now. If you're not already a member, want to get exposure to rare earth, oil, how to trade futures on stocks, all that stuff. We get involved with that stuff on the members only stream. So best time to be alive. I do feel alive. I feel the blood. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Wow, that's a lot of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. You can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court. And it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular. When in fact, they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it. We still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security. And also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important, because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything. I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they're very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy.
Oh.
I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said, you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1.
He's pissed.
I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting.
Oh,
But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo.
oh
I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1 because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our
Dude.
country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%. But now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so up, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't. He's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301, and the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability.
Oh my God, we're bumping.
That appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is.
Oh man.
Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years. To the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged.
Whoa.
And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
Global tariffs.
Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward, we will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have a totally firm decision now. And I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now. And the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've spoken about
in the red.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold?
I don't know, but they're great
Constitution?
justices. That's all I could say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
No, I don't need to. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway. Same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people like we haven't. He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. and we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place because nobody's standing in this position. The position I have as president of the United States had the insight, the courage. Well, I don't know what it is to charge tariffs. You can make your product outside. You can put our people out of business. You can put everybody on the unemployment rolls. But if you're going to make a car in some other country, you're going to pay a 15, 20, 30% tariff. And those things would have never happened. We wouldn't have lost our business. Same thing with, as an example, Taiwan. Taiwan came in. They stole our chip business. They make chips. For 30 years longer, they made chip. And they put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the beginning of this administration. And now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States. But just like that great patriot said yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible. And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done. 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics said we would right now be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th, and it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Markets are pumping.
What will you say ahead of this decision that if the Supreme
Yeah,
Court
please,
ruled-
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships. I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels.
See if we can hold on to the pump.
No, you please.
Hopefully no one says something stupid.
I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you made the case that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time. Right. January jobs report beat expectations, CPI report beat expectation, real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this, we really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision, but they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months, and that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is a strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Can we hold
Sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way. And we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place.
Oh, my
But
God.
It's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money. And I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter.
Okay.
Thank you, President Trump. So since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. They said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
That is insane. That is insane.
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years. Go ahead, Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you were talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them? And do you view this as a potential undermining power for your
We're
negotiations?
going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period, on other countries. So we're doing that period, but we're immediately instituting the 10% provision, which we're allowed to do. And in the end, I think we'll take in more money than we've taken in before.
Hey, we're about to hit all-time highs on the S&P. We're like,
President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You claim that they will pay for them. What happens
Well,
to
like
those
the
things?
farmers, we took care of farmers. You know, the farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very, very badly. And last week I gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We intend to, out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well. We just left the top person in a place called Vietnam, just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, you know, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before. And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it, Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
dude, this is crazy.
The president's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122.
Give him the mic.
signed today and implemented very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable, where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and weeks to seeing all of that come out, and we're going to keep continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Lit up.
Several of Republicans in Congress have supported this decision by the Supreme Court, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he doesn't even know? And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
There's been bipartisan criticism.
No, not
of
bipartisan.
the tariffs.
Excuse me.
There's several
A few
Republicans
people.
have said that.
Yeah,
But
a
why
few people.
wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
push tariffs.
I have the
through?
right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's all been approved by Congress. So there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process, not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs, and the Congress people and the
Voted down
Congress.
the Canadian tariffs last week.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been
but
votes
you
in the
know why?
Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left, because these people have been destroying. They are destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%,
Yeah.
is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively. I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to look. The man I met with yesterday who owned a factory was out of business. He was out of business. And now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in, he's got a brand new crane. I said, how old is that crane? We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 year. The great big beautiful act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great big beautiful bill, frankly, has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows them to hire a lot more people. But when I saw him, and then he said, it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down, other factories doing different, not only steel products, different. He said, every one of us was out of business. We could barely make it. Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford. And we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down the lowest since 1900, around the time that he had this plant. That's 125 years. We have the lowest murder rate. Okay. And our crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEEPA tariffs or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can lever. This is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit. And the prime minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing. That would have rendered them not very successful, as opposed to right now, they're considered elite. But if we put a tariff, it would, and I realized then, she said, but sir, we are a small country. I said, you're a small country with a big deficit. For us, you're making a lot of money off the United States. If we do that, a lot of these elite countries, they're elite because we let them make so much money. And I want them to do well, but I don't want them to do well on the backs of the American taxpayer. So I appreciate your question. I think it's a reasonable answer.
President Trump, you said that you were disappointed with that, but were you surprised with this decision? What you felt when you?
I was surprised because I thought that what we did was, number one, according to, I mean, I read the paragraphs. I read very well. Great comprehension. I read everything there is to read, and I said, we can't lose this case. But we can when judges are political, when they want to be politically correct, when they're catering to a group of people in DC. Maybe, I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation. But it's okay, because what has come out, I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term. We have the most powerful military. We make the best equipment. And even them, you know, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot missiles and javelins and all the different things. But when you want them, they're too slow. And we put them on notice, and they're going to make, our country is building a lot of things right now, and our country is doing really well. And we're going to keep it that way. The bottom line is that the word certainty is now in the equation. Every single thing I said today is guaranteed certainty. It's been tested, as Jameson said 1,000 times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe they weren't smart. We had some dummies too, you know. I respectfully say we had some real dummies. So we are going to keep it going just as before, probably more so. But you're no longer going to be asked. Every time I got up, you'd ask, well, what happens if you can't charge tariffs? Now we can. And by the way, in their decision, they specifically said we can do these. We have alternatives. Yeah.
Come on, Bitcoin.
On the trade deals that were negotiated using IEEPA tariffs,
Yeah.
do those stand now, or are they have to be
Well,
redone?
some of them stand. Many of them stand. Some of them won't, and they'll be replaced with the other tariffs.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union
Yeah.
next week? And will you still speak with them?
They are invited, barely.
Barely. He is such a
We
savage.
are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the trade deal, which is the framework, which is to be signed with India sometime soon, will that stand now? And on
Nothing
the decision,
changes.
nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs. Our deal with India is they pay tariffs. This is a reversal from what it used to be, as you know. India, and I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India, and it's a fair deal now. And we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little flip.
Are up as of now for this.
No, the India deal is on here.
so much, Mr. President.
All the deals are, we're just going to do it a different way.
Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think there is another war that you stopped and you should take the credit, which is in Syria. Secretary Rubio, after his meeting in Munich with the Syrian Foreign Minister and the Kurdish General Muslim Abdi, he said that President Trump was directly involved in efforts to stop the fighting between the Kurds and the Syrians. How will your administration will make sure that this peace is sustained? And do you support the idea
Well,
of...
it's a very different topic, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time. But all I can say is that the president of Syria, who I essentially put there, is doing a phenomenal job. He's a rough guy. He's not a choir boy. A choir boy couldn't do it. But Syria is coming together, really coming together well. And thus far, he's been very good to the Kurds. Yeah.
He's saying the quiet stuff out loud. He essentially put the president of Syria there.
People after 2 rounds of talks with them. Do you have any message to the Iranian people?
The Iranian people in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800, 2 weeks ago, hang some by crane. They lift them up with a tall crane and they play them around the square. They were going to hang 837 people. And I gave them the word, if you hang one person, even one person, that you're going to be hit right then and there. I wasn't waiting 2 weeks and negotiating. And they gave up the hanging. They didn't hang 837. Supposedly, they didn't hang anybody. But no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please.
Multiple times foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have evidence of that? And if not, will you investigate that?
You're going to find out.
What alternatives are you going to put into place in your relationship with Europe, and also those tariffs that has been called illegal? How they're going to go impact the relationship with Russia, that you sanction?
Well, I want Europe to strengthen up. Europe has gone woke. Europe is not recognizable when you go into so many places. Not all countries. You look at Hungary. You look at Poland, Czech, Slovakia. There are some countries that have gone very much the opposite. Some really, and some others. But Europe has to be strong, and they become soft and not recognizable. You go into some of the countries, I don't want to be specific, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. And they're not recognizable. They become, the environmentalists have taken over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and their beautiful meadows and their oceans, and they're paying a fortune. Now, Europe has to get smart. Europe's getting killed on two things: energy and immigration. And if they don't solve both of them fast, Europe is not the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today?
I
And
am.
do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth? The two of them. Yeah.
Specifically on that
Say it again,
$2,000
please.
tariff check.
Mr. President.
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me?
Yeah, Mr. President, to be clear, do you believe at the end of implementing these new tariff tools, the tariff rate and tariffs will ultimately be higher than they currently are?
Potentially higher. It depends, whatever we want them to be. But we want them to be fair for other countries. And, you know, we have some countries that have treated us really badly for years, and it's going to be high for them. And we have other countries that have been very good, and it's going to be very reasonable for them. Yeah.
Specifically on the tariffs question, I mean, on the
didn't call you.
$2,000.
I didn't call you.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you have any plans to travel to India for the Quad Summit, and how do you think your relationship with India is right now?
I think my relationship with India is fantastic. And we're doing trade with India. India pulled out of Russia. You know, India was getting its oil from Russia, right? And they pulled way back at my request because we want to settle that horrible war where 25,000 people are dying every month. And my relationship with Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, great. I also stopped the war between India and Pakistan, as you know. There were 10 planes we shot down. That war was going and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the prime minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop. That's and I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace. Okay. Okay. I just want to thank you all. Look, great
That goes
certainty
dumping.
has been brought back to the economy of the United States and actually the economy of the world, because we generate so much in the world. We're the biggest in the world, and we're now the strongest by far. We were a country that was dead 1.5 years ago. Now we have the hottest country in the world. We're going to keep it that way. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, a huge shout out to our trading group. While all that chaos is going on, 41% gains on a Polkadot long. It looks like they hit take profit 2 on this target. These are fresh trades you get in the morning of. If you click the link in our description, it's free to join. They also got a BNB long here, take profit 1 hit. We had the dot long take profit 1 hit as well. And protecting ourselves from some trades that went sideways after they did hit the entry after take profit 2 was secured. So protecting capital is just as important as making new tether in this trading environment, because as you can see, there is a lot of chaos on the charts. It's been a whipsaw of a day. So huge shout out to our quant and the trading community for being in there. And you know what? This is max uncertainty. I won't be surprised if we see yet another Trump announcement after markets close today. Really didn't seem like markets have any sort of worry left to have in them, though. On this news, we had Trump announcing a 10% global tariff on all countries under Section 122, over and above all existing tariffs right here. And the market didn't even blink. So take it for what you will. I figure it's going to be a really, really interesting weekend news-wise. So stay locked in, greet your families well. And if you are like me, you are prepared in case things do not go well. So love you guys. And I will see you on Monday. Take care.